Hey Zaxers.
Hey, Rogue.
So we're jumping on into Invisible Sister.
Yeah.
Getting right on in on that sweet, sweet character action. Which, alright, that makes it sound dirty. That's not what I meant. This video is focusing on Cleo and why she is actually the worst.
She is definitely just the worst. I think it started off, I think what's so bad about it is you start off immediately disliking her.
True. Well,
you don't even...
It's like you're supposed to feel sympathy, I guess, for her. It's almost easier to be sympathetic with the other characters.
Yeah, it's like she's the antagonist of her own life. Which I feel like they were trying to send a message across. It just didn't land at all.
Which, as you know, I'm a self-insert in my own life, so I'm kind of in the same boat.
I don't know how to build on that, but I really like being a self-insert in your own life. That's good. I like that. Yeah. I'm going to get that on a shirt.
And no one will know what it means.
I think, you know what? I think everyone will know what it means because
you're right.
Everyone's a self-insert in their own life. Which I don't know. Actually, now that I think about it, I don't know if that's good or bad. Okay. So, immediately, the first thing we see from Cleo, after that weird monologue about camouflage and butterflies or whatever she was talking about, she waves at this random girl she does not know and is expecting attention from her.
Well, I think what happens is the girl waves in her direction and she waves back and then is embarrassed or sad that when she realizes that the random girl that she has never met before is waving to the person behind her.
Yeah, I mean, you're just setting yourself up to be disappointed. First of all, if you wave, nobody cares. Right. No, she wasn't like, ew, wasn't waving at you, loser. At that point, then you can sadly put your hand back down. But if you made a mistake, that's fine, move along. But there was like some weird girl, and she looked like a nice girl. She's wearing like normal clothes. She's not in like a Hot Topic catalog.
Yeah, that would be Cleo. Cleo was in the Hot Topic catalog.
After this speech about how nobody notices her, she immediately goes to her science class, puts on headphones, and checks out completely.
Yeah, it's almost like she doesn't want to be noticed.
And like, shout out to Mr. Perkins, I guess.
Mr. Perkins, if you're listening, shout out to you.
Yeah, just good looking out. So he doesn't even call her out. Like, if I just like cracked out my huge beats in the middle of the science class, I'm pretty sure I'd get like a lunch detention.
Yeah, but like, he knows that she's smart enough that she doesn't need to listen to him because she got an A on the test.
Yeah. And so he tries to get through to her, and like she wasn't paying attention to him at all. Like she just completely she's like being snarky with him. Like they have this banter like they're besties, and it's like, if we're so close, can you like pretend to listen? That doesn't look good to the other students. She's bashing his skinny jeans, which was rude and like
weird. Who does that with their teacher?
Why are you looking at my downstairs area, Missy? Crack a book open.
Maybe she's cracking open 50 Shades of Grey.
Oh. They weren't even like that skinny.
They weren't. They were like normal. Like she's one to talk. She's wearing like fishnets under her shorts.
I guess, yeah, she's just that style though. So in a very Feeny-esque approach, he only cares about Cleo's potential because like literally other students try to engage him. He's just like, yeah, whatever. But you, Cleo.
And he's letting like 10 kids do baking soda and vinegar volcanoes in a high school. What is that?
Yeah, you know, when I was in elementary school, we weren't even allowed to do that because my teacher said you should just know what that does.
It's true.
You've seen TV shows. Oh yeah, and also it's like just volcanoes and batteries.
Yeah, like have you seen even elementary schools now? Kids are getting crazy. Like they have like, oh, I built my own robot. Yeah. I programmed my own app. Like what? It's so unbelievable.
I carbon dated a tree. That doesn't make sense, but you know, like they do stuff too.
I carbon dated a tree.
That's my next t-shirt. Okay, So, just, and like, final thing on Mr. Perkins is later when she pretends to be Molly for a day, he tells her the exact same thing. And, like, now it has this impact, like, she gets teary-eyed.
Yeah, then it gets through to her actually pretty much almost word for word the same thing that he had told her earlier.
Yeah, it's just like, oh my gosh, you're, like, hitting nerves and stuff. But it's like, well,
like,
it
would be
should've
one
a while
thing,
ago.
like, it would be one thing if he was dismissive of her, of Cleo, and then when she was pretending to be Molly later, he was telling who he thought was Molly, oh, your sister has so much potential, and I really believe in her. Like, that could make you teary-eyed.
Yeah, like,
But
that's
he's
why I'm
always
so tough
believed
on
in
her, because
Right.
I believe in her. Yeah, but he's been very upfront. He wasn't, like, being secretive. But I guess, I don't even know. I guess, like, now that she's hiding behind a mask, she's, like, not hiding behind a mask.
Dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Well, that's kind of the point of this movie. Okay, after Mr. Perkins, the next person we meet is her quirky best friend who wants all the ladies.
And has the worst pants.
Which, like, yeah, like, he literally is like, hey, girl, and she's like, your pants are the worst. And it's like, this is, first of all, this is why no one waves at you.
Yeah. Hi, best and only friend. I really hate those pants.
Like, I really hate you, but you're all I got. But to be fair, they are ridiculous. I don't, like, Disney Channel movies have got to stop with these ridiculous fashion choices. Because he's like, oh yeah, this is gonna be a real statement. You know what a real person would think is a statement? Like, I don't know, like a band t-shirt. That's really popular. Like, get a 5 sauce top on or something. That's what a guy would do to stand out, not get rose-covered tan.
Yeah.
But even so, like...
Maybe he's in drama.
Maybe. No, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I feel like we're supposed to think he's, like, really smart, but, like, then he's doing that weird science project, so I don't know.
And he couldn't figure out why it was happening. And...
Yeah. Which definitely seems like the first thing you research when you start something like that. But yeah, but still, she insults her best friend's pants, she insults her teacher's pants, and she is not one to talk. Look at her whole getup. Oh. Well, it's
yes.
like, she just wears fishnets, and, like, the 90s called, and they want their choker back vampire. I'm, like, really, really proud of that snappy insult to Cleo. Like, I'm such a, what are they called? I don't know, but I'm such a...
I have no idea what you're trying to tell me right now.
I don't know. I'm just so quippy, though, with that. They want their choker back, 90s girl.
Yeah, you could be in this movie.
I could.
You could be one of the jocks.
Yeah, I just... Like, can we just take a second talk about how, like, these two cool for life people always have, like, the most elaborate clothes?
Yeah, it's, like, so well put together, and there are many layers to it, but it's like, oh, I just threw this on, I don't really care what I'm wearing.
Because you know who doesn't care about what they're wearing? Like, me, with, like, my sweatpants and tank top. That's who doesn't care, not you. But I guess we should actually go back and talk about her best friend, but that's why Cleo's the worst, because you can just, like, rant about her bad choice in clothes for a while and then forget your point.
Yeah. She makes us lose focus. That's why she's terrible.
Yeah. So George is always nice and encouraging, and she's just, like, generally unpleasant. They get invited for Froyo, and then she's like, no, we're just gonna walk home together. And so, like, they frame it as, like, he's unpopular, which, like, maybe he is, but she's definitely holding him back.
Yeah, because they were all on board. They weren't, like, creeped out by him. Like, I feel like they were trying to go for him being a kind of a creeper with the ladies, but the ladies didn't seem creeped out by him. They seemed pretty indifferent.
Yeah, which is, like, kind of like how life is. Like, I'm pretty sure when I was in high school, I don't recall anyone ever going, like, hey, ladies, I want a piece of you, and then being like, ah, melting.
Oh, wait, you didn't do that in high school?
No. I'm pretty sure I was the guy who went, ladies, I want you. You know how guys talk?
Yeah, I think you do that now.
Moving on. Well, she gets annoyed with his, like, scooter thing, but, like, you could have gone home in a car.
Yeah.
In a convertible that apparently seats, like, 20 people.
Yeah.
And, like, yeah, like, we already talked about this, but he's, like, the typical nerdy guy who's always trying to get with the ladies. He's just, like, the Disney trope of a funny character, which doesn't necessarily mean they're actually funny.
Exactly.
It's just, oh, like, he's not popular, so he wants to be. Haha, loser.
He likes science, so he can't be funny.
He wants to know how hamsters fart, so he has to wear rose pants.
Wait, hold on. You got some things crossed there.
Which part?
I don't think he wants to know why hamsters fart.
Oh, right, yeah, but like
He wants to know what happens when a guinea pig eats ice cream, which leads them to have gas.
That is a good clarification. I guess that, I don't know, does that sound less stupid? Or like...
I think it sounds less stupid.
Okay.
But it's still unclear on just how smart he is, because it appears that he had no hypothesis for his experiment, which then how is it an experiment? It's just like,
Yeah.
I guess we'll just see what happens. And then he couldn't figure out why it was happening, and someone else had to tell him.
I think we're gonna get into this more like in our next video, but like it's only October, and unless this is like a year-round school, isn't it like really soon to be bringing out like do this science experiment that's worth like 10% of your grade?
I honestly, well, because did they say something about there being finals, or am I making that up?
The only thing I know about grade was that like I forget, like it was supposed, this is like an important project they had, but when Mr. Perkins is like sick of Cleo trying to make a papaya be a battery.
Yes, not make a papaya, just a papaya battery.
Papaya battery, yes. When he's like sick of her not putting in whatever, he's like, you know what, fine, this is gonna be 50% of your grade. That'll teach you not to care. So I think this is supposed to be some sort of like final or midterm, but it still seems like way too early in the year, and like why are scouts coming? So I'm assuming it's like a year-round school or something.
Yeah, I guess.
So the next person that we meet after George is Cleo's crush. And she almost immediately gets asked out by him. Like, it's basically like, hi, be with me.
Yeah.
And this is part of how hard, like, part of their, like, thing of, gosh, it's so hard to be Chloe. That random girl didn't wave to her. Her teacher's so, like, nice. Her best friend is hilarious.
Oh, but she did get picked on by that one jock.
Oh, right, yes, the jock.
That was...
vampire. Like, can that even count? Because she immediately is like, you want to go, bro? Like...
She doesn't seem wounded at all.
Yeah, like, if you're supposed to be the invisible sister, like, you should be like, oh no, he called me a vampire. I was so wrong to wear... Like, there would have been this whole bonus thing where, like, we saw her getting ready for school that day, and she was like, today's the first day of the rest of my life. And then he says that, and then, like, a car swoops by and she gets covered in mud. That's who I feel sorry for, not little wanna go bro.
Yeah, you can't really be invisible if you're gonna fight everyone all the time, which is kind of how she comes across.
Yeah, like, so he literally walks up to her and she completely lights up, and then he starts talking to her. He's like, hey Cleo, so like, both take science, so maybe we could study together, and like, I'll be in the library if you want to meet me there. And then she looks over and there are jocks and they're like laughing, and she's just like, oh yeah, well I'm not an idiot, or what is his name? Carter.
Always Connor.
Always
call him Connor.
Like, I mean, you know, his name did not matter. It, like, he should be so lucky that I got like the basic gist of his name. Because he was such a generic Disney crush. But anyway, so he's like happy. He's like, oh wow, she's like talking to me and like this is going well. And then he's like just like slapped in the face emotionally.
Yeah, and then of course she makes the excuse to George, oh, I know guys like that. He just wants me to do his homework or whatever. Which,
yeah.
What? Like, how did you get that from what he asked you? Like, realistically, in high school, I feel like if you had a crush on someone and you, like, slightly suspect they just wanted you to do their work, you would probably still say yes to a study date.
Yeah, I mean, because also, like, worst case scenario that, like, you didn't even give him a chance.
Right.
Like, if you like this guy, worst case scenario, you go to the library and he's like, get to the books, woman. And you're like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna leave. And then you leave, and then you grumble to George, and you're like, yeah, I'm never gonna do anything ever again. Or you go meet Carter in the library, and he's like, actually, I didn't want to hit the books. I just wanted to kiss your face. Well,
I just wanted to hit your face with my face.
Yes. Oh gosh, that sounded so creepy. Okay, hopefully he didn't say that, but he said something better.
Is that not how you ask people to kiss you? Am I doing this wrong?
I mean, I'm doing it wrong too. Oh yeah, by the way, he's also just randomly a governor scholar, and this comes into play because science.
Because everything is about science.
It's a very informative, like,
It's not.
Whatever.
It's fake informative.
Aw. This is my thesis.
Oh, no.
I don't know what my major is. I'll have to make one up. But it was gonna be my thesis.
We'll figure it out by next time.
Yeah, by the end of it, he gets stood up by her because of Molly making a date, even though she knew they were going to be kind of busy today, so I don't know why she made the date at all.
Because she's an airhead.
Oh yeah, she's the popular one.
She's
Totes
only
awesome.
sports. She doesn't know how science works.
Yeah, she doesn't know how time works either.
She doesn't know how... Time is part of science.
Yeah, I guess that's true. That's deep. It's another shirt right there. Got a whole little closet at this point. Yeah, so then he finally tells her, he's like, Cleo, look, like, I like you. I ask you out, you blow me off. You ask me out, then you still blow me off. Like, what gives? And then she's just like, yeah, you know what? You're, like, right, bro. But, like, I need your help because my sister's invisible. So, like, can we just, like, forget about your feelings for a second and just, like, help me? He's like, yeah, okay, that's fair.
Like, can we just pause this whole situation for a second? I'm kind of busy. Which, I mean, is kind of fair.
Yeah, like, she did have
But I feel like that's not the start of a great relationship.
I know that this is mostly about the sister dynamic, who he oddly did not talk about at all. Anyway, whatever. Doesn't matter.
Which shows how important that was, right?
Yes. We spent so much time planning. And we included Kook. But we didn't include the invisible sister. Like, I guess, like, I just wish that Carter could have mattered a little bit more in the grand scheme of things, as opposed to just being the generic perfect guy crush with all these, like, stats that, like, a dating sim consists of, like, cute 8 out of 10, athletics 9.7, you know? We could just lump these two together, Nikki and Coog.
Yeah, I mean, they're basically the same person. I don't know why they're not dating.
Honestly, they'd be like a legit great couple. They're both so perky and we just...
And kind of dumb.
Yeah. Before we continue anything, we need to just address the elephant in the room.
You still have it memorized.
Yeah. Froyo, YOLO, oh no, let's go. Yeah, because she does that backwards thumbs thing where she's like, let's go. And it's like, okay, Nikki, calm down. It's just some ice cream.
It's not ice cream, it's Froyo. Excuse you.
That hurt you. You killed me with that one. Okay, so they're basically like Molly's minions, and like not like in an evil way, but they're just like there to be like generically in her life.
It's the best friend and the boyfriend, and besides that, they're just like cardboard cutouts that have no personality.
Because like I feel like in a different movie, like they'd have a little bit more depth. Like it wouldn't be much more, but it'd be a little bit more. Like Nikki would secretly always wanted to be in Molly's place, so like when she notices that she's like off her game, she's like trying to usurp her throne or whatever kind of thing, and then like they have to keep her in check. And then I guess realistically though, I don't think they would, any movie I don't think would really do anything different with Coog. He's always just gonna be the guy who's just like, I love Molly so much, I love her so much, and like that's kind of like all he needs to do, I guess.
Yeah.
So I guess Cleo doesn't really like hurt them that much, so I guess that doesn't really...
Yeah, I think she learns, well, maybe not from Coog, but she learns a little bit more from them than she does hurt them.
Yeah, because like Coog she thought was an idiot, and like...
Which he is.
Yeah, cowardly bear. I love that so much.
That's the worst.
And then Nikki, you know, they do that weird friendship circle thing.
Right.
Which was definitely a cult in the middle of school.
High school teams and clubs do that kind of thing.
I guess I thought they would just like slap each other's butts and play lacrosse.
I wish that it was more like that.
Okay. And then like I think you have something you like your PSA.
Yeah, I want to address Coog's nickname because I just don't. I have a really big problem with it because I don't understand anything about it. Because he's never called by any name other than Coog. He's never called Cougar, which is what I assume Coog is short for. And he's never called any semblance of an actual name to maybe explain why his nickname is Coog. And it just doesn't make any sense to me, and it really bothers me because it's like, if you're gonna throw a crazy nickname like that in there, you have to have an explanation for it.
Yeah, I mean, even like I'm not saying this is what I wanted, but like, you know, like usually when someone has like a weird name like that, they usually do that whole like over the top exposition part where they're just like, oh, Coog, you into the fact that you like insert blank here as to why his name is Coog.
Yeah.
And he's like, haha, that was a crazy day.
Oh, Coog, you're always going after those older women, aka
Yeah.
cougars. I don't know, can you be a male cougar?
What do they call those? I never know what, like, the other thing is. Like,
I don't think there is one because that's more common.
I guess that's true.
Or just a sugar daddy. I don't know.
Maybe. I was also trying to find out what the male version of a mistress is. I'm going with Mister.
Mister.
Misters and male cougars. Maybe they could both be misters.
Yeah.
That gives me some closure.
What a great way to closure this video.
Oh, yeah. I like that a lot. Okay. I really do. But before we, like, close off, we just have to include our honorable mentions of lives that Cleo has severely ruined. Like the security guard, who definitely lost his job after those shenanigans. And then you say the other one.
Oh, and then I say... And the innocent old lady who is probably being institutionalized as we speak.
And they never heard from her again. Oh, I really, like, genuinely feel bad for that old lady. Like, twice in one day. And it's like, really...
I just don't understand why... Like, they didn't explain that either. It was like, well, you're driving your car. They didn't explain, oh, Cleo can't drive. She doesn't have a license. Or, I'm not letting you drive my car. It was just, like, assumed that Molly was going to drive, even though she was invisible. Like, that wasn't a problem that they had to deal with, along with everything else.
Well, Cleo still didn't even try to drive, but she was like, yeah, I guess I, like, she's like, I guess I should. She's like, no, you don't have your license, so I'm just gonna do it, so move over. And it's like, but they didn't even say, like, but you're, and she's like, I know, get in, or something. I don't know.
And then the car is conveniently topless, so that everyone can see her.
What's weird, too, is, like, it would have been easier if they just, like, pushed the seat back, and, like, Cleo...
Yeah, exactly.
Sat in
like,
her
they didn't even
lap,
try to pretend. It was just like, nobody will notice except for this one little old lady, and no one will believe her anyway.
They were definitely... They wanted her to get institutionalized. I think...
Yeah, they had a grudge against her, for sure.
Well, but it didn't even pay out, because I definitely watched all the way after the credits, and I was waiting for that scene where she's like, no, I'm telling you that she was invisible and driving a car. And they're like, shut up, old bag.
Jeez. Yeah, how they handle the elderly in Disney movies.
Which it kind of is, though, if you think about it, like, the wicked stepmother.
I guess, but they also have, like, the fairy godmother.
Yeah, so old people are only good when they give you something, so...
Well, isn't that true to real life? I'm sorry, I don't really feel that way.
Oh, you were kind of selling me on it, though.
I know, I should have just stuck with it.
So, in conclusion, Cleo is the worst.
And all of her problems are her own fault. Terrible, terrible little girl.
But what else is bad that we will talk about next time is the even worse science.
That's in quotes.
Yes, quote unquote science.
Yes.
Alright, so that's good, and I'll see you guys next time.
I'll see you next time, Zax.
Oh, you too, Rogue. Okay, bye.